Data privacy. What's the big fuss, right? We might assume it doesn't have a huge impact on our day-to-day job, or that we are already pretty privacy aware in how we handle personal information. But did you know that human error is one of the main causes of privacy breaches all around the world? Picture these scenarios. You just got a pay rise, and your pay details are given to another employee by mistake. You have a medical condition, and details of your health data has been accidentally emailed to a third party without your consent. Details about a complaint you made last year are inadvertently saved on a platform that is accessible by your colleagues. Various data privacy laws have been passed in different jurisdictions to give us a say in who can access and use our personal data, and to ensure that any organizations which access or use our personal data do so responsibly, keep it secure, and do not share it without our permission. So why is data privacy important to BHP? In addition to data privacy being a legal obligation, it makes very good business sense. By treating people's personal data in a proper and responsible way and being transparent about how and why we use it, we build trust and confidence in BHP. It also means that the personal data we process is more accurate, up-to-date, and relevant to our business. BHP is also committed to privacy by design, which means thinking about how we responsibly use personal data and implementing strategies to ensure we meet our privacy obligations from an early stage of a project, change, or procurement activity rather than as an afterthought. So, data privacy is very important. But exactly what information can be classified as personal data? Although the precise definition will vary between each country, personal data, or personal information, is any information relating to an identified or identifiable living person. So, if there's information that relates to you and me as individuals, which can be used to identify us, then that's personal data. Now it's your turn. How many examples of personal data can you identify? Well done. These are straightforward examples. But personal data can also include opinions we express about someone. So if you've conducted a job interview and during that interview you've scribbled down notes about the candidate, such as, "This person has poor communication skills," or "This person is terrific," that opinion is personal data about the candidate, and they may also have the right to access this information. There is also a special category of personal data which requires additional protection because of the significant harm a person could suffer as a result of unauthorized sharing of this type of data. This is often referred to as sensitive personal data or sensitive information, and includes information such as a person's racial or ethnic origin, political opinions, trade union membership, religious or philosophical beliefs, physical or mental health, sexual life or sexual orientation, genetic or biometric data, criminal convictions and offences, payroll data. This type of data is also referred to within BHP's information protection framework as highly confidential information. It is essential that we handle this sensitive data with extra care and caution. See the Information Protection Framework for more details about how you should handle this type of data. Information that has been modified so that it can no longer be linked to a certain identified or identifiable individual is no longer personal data. This is called de-identified or anonymized data. Once data has been de-identified, it is no longer subject to privacy laws unless BHP is able to re-identify the data by relinking it to a particular individual, either by using that data on its own or together with any other data that may be reasonably available to BHP. For example, by cross-referencing with a different database or public source of information. We've looked at the types of data that can be considered personal data and why it's important to protect it. But how do we do this? How do we make sure that we process personal data in a way that is responsible and complies with data privacy laws? Well, firstly, what do we mean by processing personal data? Processing essentially means doing anything with personal data, including using it and disclosing it. Here are some examples of what processing data can include. Recruitment processes, including gathering information about potential candidates, medical screening, psychometric testing, and criminal history checks. employee compensation and benefits, employee assessment and training, disciplinary or grievance proceedings, monitoring and treatment of individuals in workplace accidents, monitoring use of BHP assets or attendance on site by employees, contractors, and visitors, managing customer contact lists. There are 6 key principles we must always apply when handling personal data. Click on each of these principles for examples of how they might apply to BHP. For more detailed information about these privacy principles, refer to BHP's Privacy Principles Guidance Note. If you have any questions about BHP's privacy principles or are considering a new activity that involves collecting or processing personal data, contact the Data Protection and Privacy Office, or DPPO, at dataprivacy@bhp.com. They will guide you through BHP's privacy obligations and let you know if a data protection impact assessment is required for your particular activity to identify privacy risks and recommend appropriate safeguards. Adhering to these key principles will help to ensure that BHP treats personal data responsibly, keeps the personal data it holds safe, and stays compliant with its legal obligations. But what happens if you become aware of a data privacy breach? For example, you identify unauthorized access to personal data or someone has accidentally sent personal data to the wrong recipient. What should you do? You should immediately contact the cybersecurity team at cybersecurity@bhp.com and report to your 1UP or 2UP. It's important that you do so, even if you may think that the breach is minor, so that the incident can be assessed and managed promptly. Not only is it critical to contain any data loss as quickly as possible, in certain circumstances, BHP may be under a regulatory obligation to report a breach or notify affected individuals. Data breaches aren't just external attacks or hacks on our IT systems or networks. They can also include any type of unauthorized access, use, disclosure, transfer, or loss of data. Here are some examples of breaches. A lost or stolen work device, e.g. laptop, tablet, smartphone. Missing backup documentation at a service provider. Information about employee salaries sent to the wrong service provider. An employee's employment record accidentally sent to the wrong email address. So far, we've learnt why data privacy management is important to BHP and what to do if there's a breach. Now let's put this into practice by looking at some scenarios you might encounter in your job. Click on each of the characters in this scene to determine whether any data privacy risks arise and what the BHP employee should do about this. Great work! In conclusion, we've looked at what personal data is, how BHP should collect, process, and secure personal data, and the key principles that help BHP to do so. If you have any questions about data protection or privacy, contact BHP's DPPO at dataprivacy@bhp.com. If you ever suspect or become aware of a potential or actual data privacy breach or other vulnerability, you should immediately contact the cybersecurity team at cybersecurity@bhp.com. Thank you for your attention.